HALALYAM, YAHAWAH, HASHAM, YAHAWASHI, HASHAM, RAWCHAA, QADASH. Alright, peace and salutations to the hopefully elect. Alright, double honor to the elder apostles of GMS who rule well teaching this truth. Alright, let's get into it. I'm your brother Tasab and YAHAWAH, and I'm about to start this lesson is edifying. I said about a month or so ago that this is going to be an unusually violent summer. Alright, so what I'm about to show you in the video is pretty much like just clips, you know, speaking on this prophecy, man, and this is a warning. Alright, let's get it. Let's say fair use, fair use.
For days now, we've been reporting on heavy storm damage in the Midwest, including at least 10 deaths blamed on the weather in Indiana, Ohio, and West Virginia. Our Tom Hansen is there tonight in central Indiana, which has seen historic flooding.
Indiana can't catch a break as flooding continues to inundate parts of the central and southern regions of the state. So far, more than a foot of rain has fallen over the past week, leading to the worst flooding in more than 100 years. In Noblesville, just north of Indianapolis, the White River crested at its highest level ever, just below 25 feet, sending torrents of floodwater crashing through the town. Across the state, more than 100,000 people are still without power, including Thomas Davis, who had to be rescued from rising water around his home.
The front yard was all underwater. That was all underwater.
Officials say at least 7 people died in Indiana in storm-related incidents, including 58-year-old Stephanie Jo Sally, when floodwaters swept her car off the road. And Tony, take a look behind me. The surging river water is so powerful, it is causing this bridge to partially collapse. Authorities believe the bridge could completely fall into the river at some point soon, and the mayor here believes that the damage to this community alone could top at least $1 billion, Tony.
Are right now first. Well, just as we're looking at that forecast, so many people are cleaning up from the historic flooding that hit the area last week. And this includes many businesses that are located along the White River. Samantha Johnson this afternoon back in Hamilton County today, checking in on some of the areas hardest hit.
This week, the Carmel Equestrian Center is all hands on deck, drying out and cleaning up.
Rubbing buckets, collecting, pulling out wet stuff.
Owner Kathy Arnold says Carmel Fire helped evacuate about 24 horses early Saturday morning. Kathy had to leave too.
Kind of like a movie, like you were watching yourself in a movie and you're just walking toward, a row of people and all the flashing lights and trailers and it's raining. And so
everyone made it out safely, even the chickens, and about half the horses will be back on Wednesday.
It'll definitely feel more normal. It just feels so empty.
Up in Noblesville, Schwartz's Bait and Tackle is open. We were there as crews salvaged whatever they could ahead of swelling waters on Friday, and now they're drying out. Family owned since 1979, they lost a couple picnic tables out back, and the floors need cleaned, but the doors are open. And the owners tell me, thanks to all the help, they actually don't need any more, and they want us to help other people instead. Just about a mile down the river,
we've got a bunch of people in today helping us out.
The White River Canoe Company is in cleanup mode too.
It's quite the undertaking. We've been at it since Friday.
That's when they raised hundreds of canoes and close to 1,000 tubes to higher ground.
God bless the people that work for us. You can see the large dumpster. The water level right there was about chest high on me.
The equipment is safe, and now the work is just getting everything cleaned up because no rentals are going out this week.
Nobody has any business being on the water at this time.
These guys hope to be back to normal and back on the water for Labor Day.
We have 6 cases where an individual, black, died under mysterious circumstances seemingly related to a self-inflicted death. But there's no proper investigation according to members of the family, members of the community, and in some cases, members of law enforcement. But in this case, you have a family who is not saying anything right now contrary to the chief's investigative conclusion or the detective's investigative conclusion from the press conference. You do not have an ambiguous investigation. You have an investigation that seem to assess at least surveillance footage, giving that information to the public. We still have investigations that concluded where the sheriff refused to give any information to the public as to why they concluded the investigation and no foul play.
And the mainstream media is too busy allowing the Trump administration to dominate the news cycle, lying about the economy, downplaying the war, ignoring the health outbreaks, and the upcoming healthcare cuts to take even a moment to talk about the Black people being targeted for death in the state of Mississippi. And before you say I'm being hyperbolic about this, if we had this many unexplainable deaths of white children happening in one state, you know the media would be losing their collective minds. One beautiful white girl was by an undocumented immigrant, and the Republican Party ran their entire election and then wrote an aggressive immigration bill in her name. But we are watching black person after black person after black person lose their lives under unexplained circumstances, many of them being found struck in trees, and no foul play is being called by the police or the medical examiner or any investigative reporters. I need you to stay with me on this because I understand this is very uncomfortable, but it is essential that we understand what is really happening, especially if you look like me or you live in the South or you have a family member or you yourself are in law enforcement. When someone black ends up for no discernible reason in questionable circumstances with no indication the victim was suicide, that's what's called shame. But when this happens in a state that refused to pass a standalone anti-lynching bill in 2026, the state that didn't ratify the 13th Amendment, formally abolishing slavery, until 1995, 130 years after it was passed by Congress, and didn't even make it official until 2013 because of a clerical error, when this kind of thing happens in the state that recorded more lynchings than any U.S. state between 1882 and 1968, with at least 581 documented racial terror, the only state that banned Sesame Street because they didn't like white and black children being shown playing together, then you start to see a pattern and a major problem. The adults in charge of Mississippi seem determined to keep their generations of hate and division going strong, and people are dying because of it.
So we are now on day 6, no power in Gary, Indiana. Yes, my grandmother still has a tree on her roof because her insurance said they are not going to cover a natural disaster. Yes, it is steadily raining every day, and rain is pouring into my grandmother's house. Yes. Now, let's address some of the rumors going around Gary. It is, in fact, true that in Highland, Indiana, a Caucasian woman approached road workers trying to assist, and with her, and brandized her weapon and told him to get out of there. And nothing was done.
Look at this pitch. Everyone's like, oh, how dark is it? How dark is it in Gary, Indiana, right? This is how dark it is. We're gonna be all right. It's literally gonna be fine. I'm Aja. This is Carter, and we are still in the mother dark. It's been 8 days. No power. As you may not know, last night got really crazy. There were a lot of pew-pew shots right outside of my mother's door. We actually just heard some coming in. So guess what we did? We went to Bass Pro Shop and got some.
It's like a horror movie out here. We've got helicopters everywhere. The roads are parking lots. It's like we're all trying to exit town and there's no gas, no power, nowhere to go.
According to the videos that I've landed on the internet, is getting to almost like the second week in northwest Indiana without power and water, and food is rotting, and increased pew-pews are happening because people are trying to rob and steal generators, like people that have the most vulnerable people, hospitals, convenience stores. Like, it's like an apocalypse.
99 large wildfires are burning out of control across the United States. We are still at National Preparedness Level 5, the absolute maximum. Over 5.25 million acres have already burned, and it is only the 4th of August. That is 138% of the 10-year average, and fire season runs through October. The situation is so severe that Australia and New Zealand have sent firefighters to help us. Here's everything you need to know about today's fire weather crisis. All right, let's start with the big picture before we zoom in on specific areas and cities. As of 7:30 this morning, Mountain Time, 27,448 personnel are deployed. That includes 583 ground crews, over 1,500 engines, and 168 helicopters. 26 Type 1 incident management teams are committed the highest level of national wildfire management, and yet the fire is still winning in many places. Here's why the weather is simply relentless. Minimum relative humidity values of just 3 to 15% across California and the inland Northwest. 3% humidity, think about that. That is critically dangerous for wildfire spread and firefighter safety. Temperatures at or above 100 degrees Fahrenheit are locked in across the interior West today, and a strengthening thermal trough that's a ribbon of extreme heat near the surface is the culprit. It's creating a pressure gradient that's pumping hot, dry, unstable air into fire country right now. Now let's move to the Northwest, because this is where the situation is most critical today. The Northwest Geographic Area Coordination Center is at preparedness level 5, maximum resource.
Hi, yeah, I need to get my ex off my insurance policy. Oh, I'm sorry.
Maximum resource commitment. 50 of the nation's 99 uncontained large fires are burning right here in the Pacific Northwest. That means half of America's wildfire problem right now is concentrated in Washington and Oregon. And folks, if you are in the Spokane, Washington metro area, please pay close attention right now. The city of Spokane is surrounded, and I do not use that word lightly, by 3 simultaneous wildfires. The Old Trails fire is burning just 3 miles to the west of downtown Spokane right now. The Autumn Lane fire is 7 miles to the northwest, with 2,252 new acres overnight. And the Fairview fire is burning 2 miles to the northeast, timber and grass with active evacuations in effect. All 3 fires have mandatory evacuations, area closures, road and trail closures in effect this morning. Large wildfires are burning across the United States right now, and 2026 is already the worst fire year on record. 7.2 million acres gone. That's 169% of the 10-year average, and it's only mid-August. Tonight in Washington state, a fire the size of a small country is burning just 30 miles from Leavenworth. NASA satellites picked up 97 separate heat detection points in Chelan County alone, all of them overnight. That fire burned straight through the night, which tells you exactly how intense and relentless this situation really is. Meanwhile, a brand new fire exploded in San Diego yesterday, forcing immediate mandatory evacuations across 2 full zones. And down in New Mexico, a fire near Santa Fe is exhibiting what we call extreme fire behavior, long-range spotting. That means burning embers are being lofted miles ahead of the main fire, igniting entirely new spot fires downwind. My goodness, this is an action-packed and deeply serious fire weather situation from coast to coast today. And the weather setup, the heat, the wind, the low humidity is not letting up anytime soon, according to the latest NWS guidance. So let's get right into it and break this all down region by region. We're going to start in Southern California and work our way north and east across the entire country.
That's the very latest on the rescue and recovery efforts in Colombia. The country is still trying to recover after that powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake rocked the nation on Monday morning.
The catastrophe leading to the reported deaths of at least 250 people and counting. We continue to see the widespread scale of the destruction on the ground. Video out of the western city of Manizales shows collapsed and crumbled buildings. Rescue crews and civilians in Colombia painstakingly searched through the rubble Tuesday, hoping to find survivors trapped under debris. Thousands remain missing in dozens of cities and towns. And in times of desperation, miracles happen. Rescuers pulling a baby from the rubble of a collapsed apartment building. A rescuer says he was a block and a half away when he heard the building collapse. He ran to the site and called out for survivors. That's when he heard a man saying that he was under the rubble with a baby.
Colombia's president, who took office last week, is now there on the ground in the affected areas overseeing the emergency response. Colombia's army has deployed 400 soldiers to Cali, trying to reinforce security following the mayor's announcement that the city would be militarized after the earthquake. Thousands of people in many cities are still unaccounted for.
Wait.
No. It's Aja, and I'm going on day 7 of having no power in one of Indiana's worst blackouts and one of the highest crime cities in Indiana. As you can see from the bags under my mother's eyes, I'm tired. First things first, I have no food. That refrigerator is as empty as my soul right now. I don't know how you don't get, I live in a food desert, so we literally survive off Family Dollars and one grocery store that sells old expired produce that they get from other grocery stores, and even those are closed. I also have an autistic daughter, which means her screen time has been 0 and my irritation time has been 100. And before you talk about autistic parents and tablets, please know that her educational games are my only time where she doesn't scream and holler, so we're not having that time.
It's shocking. Has gotten almost no coverage at all, kept from the headlines, of course, thanks to powerful people, and specifically it has to do with America's food supply. What is the truth about America's food supply? And what is the biggest threat to our entire supply? Might not be any kind of shortage, but the people who actually control it. The big agricultural companies, the consolidation of power into a few big producers. And the history of America's beef industry, of course, filled with allegations of mob connections, squeezing out some of the smaller producers, trying to roll them into the bigger producers, bribery, corruption, selling diseased meat, even meat reportedly so disgusting it made grown men vomit while they were having to put it together, serving it then to schools and prisons. I mean, you don't even have to go back to Upton Sinclair and the turn of the century to learn about this or study this, having pigs dragged through the streets of Chicago. We all remember that from our high school reading of The Jungle. It's happening right now, with new accounts claiming diseased meat simply blended together with other products, ultimately sold to U.S. schools, prisons, even the U.S. military. That's how much we love our military, serving them diseased meat. So how the hell did we get here? And can you actually trust the meat that you're feeding your family if you walk into any typical grocery store? Where is it coming from? Joining me now is A.J. Richards. He comes from a family of ranchers, a long line of ranchers. He's a combat veteran, founder and CEO of From the Farm, which is a company working to connect Americans directly with independent farmers.
The Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo continues to worsen, with the number of confirmed cases climbing to over 4,500. Over 2,100 people have already been killed by the virus, a death toll that was reached almost 3 times faster than the outbreak over a decade ago. As Ebola speeds through the Democratic Republic of Congo, even those who are still healthy are struggling.
We used to carry 2 passengers on a motorcycle, but with the Ebola outbreak, the authorities are only allowing us to carry 1 passenger per motorcycle, which is having a huge impact on our finances. We're barely making any money.
Cyclospora still wrecking summer fun across America.
I started having really bad stomach pain and really bad nausea.
The parasite leaving its prey with aches at best and at worst, severe stomach illness.
It was just all bad, and I do not wish that on my worst enemy.
But this morning, experts say new CDC numbers are signaling a downward trend in the months-long Cyclospora outbreak. The agency confirming more than 15,700 cases of cyclosporiasis since May 1st, and says it's looking into another nearly 12,000 potential cases, some of which federal officials say are linked to the recalled iceberg lettuce supplied by Taylor Farms. And while those numbers surpass last year's tally of 1,180 cases for a similar time frame, medical professionals are cautiously optimistic.
Curves